What is up, lads? How's it going? How are you getting on? And welcome back to the channel. In this video, we'll be looking at my Game Week 10 preview, and we'll also be looking at how I fared out in Game Week 9. Before we get into it, I just want to note, over 66% of my viewers aren't actually subbed to the channel, so if you're not subscribed and you're currently watching, please do hit that sub button. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. The North London derby definitely kept managers entertained with a goal fest at the Emirates. Thankfully, Harry Kane scored from the spot, and Gabriel Martinelli grabbed an assist that resulted in my two players returning, which was a great start to Game Week 9. I wish I could say the same for the 3 o'clock games. We'll be staying in London, where we'd 5 players playing in the Palace and Chelsea game, along with Fulham facing Newcastle. Things were looking great for my double Newcastle offence when Fulham went down to 10 men early on, and unfortunately Mitrovic also went off early after picking up a yellow card. I took some consolation in the hopes my double clean sheet would save, but this wasn't to be, as Fulham scored a late consolation goal, but at least Trippier was taken off before Newcastle conceded. That resulted in a 7-point return. I had a good feeling Palace would score and thought Zaha was going to be involved, but unfortunately assisted the assister, which wasn't ideal with James in my team also. Looking ahead to Game Week 10 for Palace and Chelsea, they both have some nice fixtures, so I'll be hoping there'll be amongst the returns this weekend and onwards. After some disappointing returns in 3 o'clock games, all my hopes were left on to Bowen to try and save my game week. I got a lot of stick on Instagram and Twitter for bringing in Bowen last week, but thankfully he repaid the fate with a massive 14-point return. West Ham have some decent fixtures over the next 2, so I'll be hoping for at least 2 returns from Jared before I'll be moving him on. On to Sunday, and what else can be said about Haaland? 3 goals and 2 assists led to a monster 46-point return from the Iron Man. You have to feel somewhat sorry for the managers who didn't captain him last week, but only had themselves to blame. He also scored 2 goals last night in the Champions League after only playing 45 minutes, so he's well rested for the Southampton game this weekend. Hopefully Cancelo can get a return too, as it was a disappointing return from him after City scored 6. On to Monday night with Maddison just left to play. He definitely exceeded my expectations. I was hoping for at least a return, but he came away with 2 goals and an assist for an 18-point return. Himself and Bowen were massive differentials for my team that led to me flying up the overall ranks. Game Week 9 ended with a score of 102 points, and if you told me I'd be scoring that after the 3 o'clock games on Saturday, I'd be saying you weren't well in the head. From these returns, I got a nice green arrow, and I'm now sitting at 293k overall. I'll be looking to push on now over the next few game weeks. Looking ahead to the Game Week 10 preview, Mitrovic is a slight doubt for the game this weekend. There's definitely some value in these forward spots that you could replace him with, especially with the next 4 being great differentials that could see you flying up the ranks. I'll start off with Wilson, as he's probably the player I'm leaning towards the most. He scored last week after returning from an injury, and he'll be Newcastle's main man, with Isaac currently sidelined. Newcastle face Brentford and Everton over their next 3, which could easily see Wilson returning. Moving on to my next pick is Tony Martial. He returned from injury coming off the bench against City and scored twice in 30 minutes. United have a mixed run of fixtures facing Spurs and Chelsea in Game Week 12 and 13, but Tony could be a nice shout for short-term gains. Next up is the man who everyone is talking about on Twitter, and Dominic Solanke. He's only returned in 1 game week this season, so I don't get the hype around him, to be honest. He is on penalties however, and Bournemouth do have some nice fixtures up until Game Week 12, so if you want to take a punt on him and use the money elsewhere, I don't see the harm in it. Danny Welbeck is also someone who's gone under the radar, returning in his last 2 game weeks, and Brighton face a leaky enough Spurs defence this weekend, and they could easily score against Brentford, and especially Forest in their next 2. I'll be hoping Mitrovic is okay, but all these suggestions are all 1% owned, so if you pick the right player, you could be on your way to a green arrow this week. With the Mitrovic replacements out of the way, let's have a look at a few tips I'll be recommending ahead of this weekend. As discussed already, Solanke has the best fixtures out of the forward options, so if you have 2 free transfers and want to bring Solanke into your team, you can upgrade your defensive midfield as well. If you have Salah, don't sell him, and if you don't have him, don't buy him. I'll definitely be looking at bringing him into my team over the next few weeks. It's mad to think comparing this year's game to last year. There was only 2 game weeks I didn't own Salah, and it was absolute torture. I'll be hoping he doesn't return well until he's back in my team. If you're eyeing up transfers, City, Chelsea and Maddison are the players to target this week. City and Chelsea are ranked first for a potential clean sheet this week, and Maddison is Leicester's main man against a leaky Bournemouth defence. If you're looking to bring a midfielder into your team, I'll be ranking Maddison first, Foden and Zaha as second replacements, and Bowen third. I'll be waiting until we hear an update on Mitrovic's injury before I make my moves. If he's out for the next few weeks, I'll probably be going for Callum Wilson. That means I'll need 2 transfers, so I'll need to downgrade Soufal to afford them. I've 2 transfers in the back pocket, so it won't cost me anything. For now, my team is as follows: Pope in goals, Cancelo, James and Trippier in defence, Maddison, Zaha, Bowen and Martinelli in midfield, and Haaland, Mitrovic and Kane up top. There's not much debate for the captaincy armband, with Haaland scoring 2 last night and being taken off after the first 45 minutes. If you're looking to make some gains on rank, I'd still advise on captain and Haaland and looking for differentials in other positions. It could easily be another hat-trick for him against Southampton this weekend. If you've made it to the end of the video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and comment below. I'll be live streaming Saturday afternoon before the deadline, so I'll see you then. There you have it. There's my Game Week 10 team. Best of luck for Game Week 10. I'll see you in the next video.